Have you ever thought about your mind and what it is? What does it do for you? How does it come about its actions? Is it a thing? Is it just immaterial? What is it? Well, we're going to talk about the mind versus the brain and what the difference is. So let's face it, both the mind and your brain are very powerful. And your mind and your brain are actually two things that you should be working on every day. And actually, you can work on them anywhere. So it's not like you need equipment or a special room. But the mind is such a vague term. So we're going to narrow it down and put it in context of how it affects your health, your fitness, and your body. When you start to think about what does your mind do for you? I mean, we know the brain thinks and calculates and does all of these different things. But what does your mind really do for you? Well, it interprets everything around you, and it sees them as either good or bad. And it puts things in perspective as if half full or half empty. And it also determines your whole attitude, good or bad, confident, defeated. And of course, it controls your emotions, happy, sad, and it stores and interprets your memories, good ones and bad ones. Are you seeing where this is going? Because it doesn't really have any gray area. Now, the other thing your mind does that's really fantastic is that it manifests your imagination. It allows you to envision things that are either really, really good or really, really bad. And that also forms part of our beliefs and our values. And our beliefs are things that we believe are true. They might not be true. Is the dress red or is it blue or whatever those colors were? So it's something that you believe, whether it's true or not. And that has come from your mind interpreting all of these experiences that you've had. For one person, it may be a good experience. For you, maybe it was a horrible one. It also puts things in perspective. Sometimes you'll say, well, that wasn't so bad because of this. And somebody else says, oh my gosh, that was horrible because of that. And that's why two people can have the exact same experience, but perceive it differently. Their attitude can be different about it, and so are their emotions. And so when you're talking about fitness and dieting and getting healthy, there's a whole range of things that can go through your mind, and they're all going to be different, but they're not wrong. They're just yours. They're your beliefs. They're what your mind has calculated out to say, this is what it is. Okay, so what makes the brain different than the mind? Well, the brain is actually an organ. It's a physical place where your mind resides. And your mind is a combination of all your thoughts, perceptions, emotions, your memories, your imagination. It all takes place within that organ called the brain. Your mind is often used to refer to your thought processes and your reasoning. So your mind is actually the manifestations of your thoughts, perceptions, emotions, determinations, memories, imagination. It's everything. And the kind of scary thing is that your mind can create things for you that don't really exist. And they can be beliefs that are wrong and that limit you from reaching your full potential, or maybe self-sabotage you when you're trying to get in shape or lose weight. And learning how to find these beliefs and learning how to deal with them is what we're going to be discussing in the next couple of episodes. Because I have found in doing fitness for decades and working with people that this is the one thing that limits them from getting the body they want. It is their beliefs. And what they believe is true. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it really is true. But sometimes these beliefs are so deep-rooted that someone doesn't realize that it's not a reality or it's not a truthful belief. So there's this thing called a belief window. And what that means is that you kind of look through this window and everything you believe is written on that window. Nobody else can see it, only you. And this is what drives you to do things. So you might have a belief that says, I'm fat, I can't get in shape. And in reality, you might be doing everything right and you might even be in fabulous shape. But you look through that window every day and you see that is ingrained in your subconscious mind and in your forefront mind that you can't get in shape. And then all of a sudden, things are going to click and force you to do things that people do that are not in shape. So that's where you might have an uncontrollable craving or a binge eating or a period where you don't exercise at all. Your mind is helping your body manifest what you see on your belief window. And finding what's on your belief window is not all that easy. And there's some different steps we're going to go through. But for right now, think about anything that you say to yourself, your self-talk. Think about anything that's negative or that's a put down or that you think might not be totally true. And the best way to do this is to, write it in a journal, because that way you can actually look at it more objectively and look at these things as words rather than feelings and kind of dissect them and say, maybe that's not really true. Maybe I can get in shape. Maybe I am in shape. What constitutes being in shape in your world? It's different for each person. Now, these beliefs don't always have to be detrimental to your fitness. You can actually kind of do a little reverse psychology with your mind and use it to your advantage. For example, you might say, I just look at pizza and I get fat. Well, then your subconscious mind is going to drive you to be in alignment with that thought. But what if you said instead, I don't like pizza, it can make me fat. And you keep telling yourself that, and then all of a sudden you realize, I don't really like pizza. And you forgot why, because the why was it makes you look like you don't want to look. But your subconscious mind is remembering, I don't like pizza. So when you go somewhere to eat, I don't like that, I'm going to go for this. And so that can help it work in a positive manner. By keeping a journal and writing down these thoughts that usually come across as negative, we can actually manipulate them and change them into things that actually will help support us and get us to our final goal. It may not sound like fun, but finding these core beliefs are really important to our psychological issues and determining our self-esteem and our self-image. But when we find what these beliefs are and we challenge them and find that they are not really rooted in reality, then we can change them to support what we want most. And that changes everything, not just in your world of fitness and getting in shape, but in your whole life.